Yay! How are we going to start this off then?
Hi, we're your hosts.
I'm Stephen Jones. Hello.
And I'm Ellery.
And together we are Scottish Witch Trails. Yay!
So we're just going to read our little about blurb because we're super prepared.
Obviously.
So we're two mega nerds who love history and folklore.
Yeah.
A bit too much.
I think a bit too much. And yeah, through our own personal research and reading, which, nobody actually made us do, because that's just the kind of people that we are. We like to do this kind of stuff. We've definitely noticed a distinct lack of information which is focused on Scotland in particular when it comes to certain areas, like, for example, folklore research. And I think both of us agree that we would quite like to readdress that balance.
Yeah, I think the line that we wrote regarding that is, we think this is unacceptable.
Unacceptable.
Mm-hmm. So...
Just like, outrage!
But this is basically what to expect from us, is just laughing at ourselves and what we're doing. What even are we up to now? Scottish history and culture is so much richer and more diverse than shortbread tin tartanry and Burns Nick Twee.
Exactly, and so because of that, I would say that our goal is to explore the history of Scotland, but particularly through the lens of the other. And so by that, we would mean even so queer history, for example.
Women's history,
disability history. Looking at kind of pre-Christian cultural heritage as well.
And like the impacts of colonisation in Scottish diaspora.
Which is something that's actually not often discussed.
Mm-hmm.
It's interesting.
If anything exists on it, it's like, look at how great Scotland is. We exported all of these people and made discoveries. Not, we exported all of these people and destroyed everything.
Which, in any kind of culture, there is obviously shades of grey, and I think if you're going to have a look at history, you need to have a look at it from an unbiased perspective.
Yeah, both the good and the bad, the triumphs and the traumas.
I'm trying not to be like, so excuse me, I'm a bit ill at the moment, but yeah. We would quite like you guys to join us as we uncover some of Scotland's hidden cultural gems and historical treasures.
Yeah.
Ta-da! Can you tell as well we both have a performance background?
Yeah. So we're gonna just do each other's little blurb, because it's more comfortable that way.
Yes.
You're not like, I've got to speak about myself.
Got to talk about me. It's not like I like talking about me. I actually quite like talking about me. Sorry. Right. So
we'll start with Stephen.
Yes, hello.
So, Stephen Jones graduated from the University of St Andrews in 2012 with an honours degree in social anthropology.
Yep.
And then went on to attain a master's degree in theatre studies from the University of Dundee in 2015.
Yes.
He currently works as a drama teacher and freelance theatre practitioner, and your areas of interest include theatrical education, working with young people, gender studies, queer activism, social rights and theory, religious studies, and the correlation between performance and spirituality.
Yeah, I think that about sums me up.
Yeah, so it's like you're like, one of the things we've talked about quite a lot that you're interested in following up is kind of what's it called again, where it's the yay, brain fog.
Help me.
Help me. No, what's it called? When the kind of the performance in religion, it has a fancy name. You told me, but my brain's not finding it.
Performance in religion, fancy name.
It's got a fancy name.
I'm trying to think of its fancy name.
We've forgotten.
Its fancy name.
That's going to be a whole nother video. We'll find out what the fancy name is and we'll tell you about it. But you're like really interested in kind of
the way they blend.
Rituals in it.
Ritual
theatre.
Yeah, and ritual performance, and I guess the ways in which they can blend. So, yeah, like, because I think, spirituality in many ways is an aspect of performance, and how you embody certain things, how you embody certain principles and ideas, and so how that then filters down into a theatrical context is something that I'm very interested in. Yeah, I'd say so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we're going to have fun with that later.
We will!
And lots of fun with my short-term memory issues as well.
Couple it with mine will be great. Yeah, so is there anything else you'd like to ask me about, like, my background or my interests, you know?
Well, I mean, the social anthropology is really relevant to what we're looking at.
Yeah, very much so, especially from the point of view that I guess cultures are not static things. You know, they're things that are constantly in a state of flux, ever-changing, multifaceted, and so therefore to try and pinpoint, say for example, what Scotland is as one thing, that doesn't work like that. And there are lots of different shades to that, so that's, I think, partly from my perspective and from my background, that's kind of an area I'm really interested in, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, if it doesn't, we'll figure it out later.
We'll sort it out.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I would like to introduce, so this is Ellery. She graduated with a, how do you pronounce that?
BDes Ons.
BDes Ons.
It's an honour degree, it's a Bachelor's of Design.
Okay.
It's a fancy made up title.
She's the super artsy creative one of the two when it comes to making. I can't make anything. So thank you. So yes, you got your BDes Ons in textile design from Duncan of Jordanston School of Art and Design, also in 2012. Yes, we also went to school together.
Yep.
Fancy fact. And having decided that textile design was not actually her passion, Ellery went back to Fife College part-time in 2015, 2016 to study acting and theatre performance. But I think I'm right in saying that this potentially wasn't, you kind of realised through doing this wasn't necessarily the kind of the angle that you wanted to go down, right?
No.
Not exactly.
If I was going to go back, it was basically I was going to have to study Shakespeare and grade unit, and I was like, nah mate, I just want to dance.
Well, that's the thing, like, you know, Shakespeare, as I tell the kids that I work with, you know, Shakespeare has its place in a theatrical education, but it's not the be-all and end-all. So yeah, I think you realised that for you personally, you would like to retrain as a contemporary dancer and potentially aerialist as well.
Woohoo! With the circus. So,
Ellery, you have FND.
So that's a functional neurological disorder.
I'm going to let you explain this. It's best for you to explain it, I think.
Well, I mean, I've got my own kind of blog called Too Young to Be Sick, where I've got like better explanations, but it basically means there's something wrong with the way that my brain sends signals throughout my nervous system and receives messages. So the way it's been explained to me is there's nothing wrong with my hardware. My central nervous system is intact. All other nervous systems, there's many nervous systems, none of mine work properly. But the hardware, my physical body is intact, but the software is in some way, there's something wrong with the code. It's probably genetic, but they don't know enough about it, really. Yeah.
So you would say in some ways it's not an unknown, but it's
It's one of these, and I'm gonna like definitely pursue this in later videos. Kind of like the history of FND is also kind of the history of hysteria, and Freud is to blame for all of the problems in the world, and we should burn him with fire.
All of them.
All of them. He's a witch.
Yeah.
But a bad witch.
Scandalous. So I think that very much ties into then your kind of interest in like disability history.
Yeah.
And then kind of different other currents, I guess, that you would say you're interested in would be prehistory, women's history, and Scottish material culture.
Yeah. I like stuff. I like the things that people leave behind and the memories associated with them. It's like the meaning that people get out of objects and the symbolism of them. And I think part of that is to do with the design background.
Yeah.
I really like kind of design history.
Well, objects hold identity. You know, they hold, you know, you can say they hold memories, they hold identity, they hold different people's hopes and perspectives, and I think that would make sense why it would be important to look at objects. And like throughout the course of this channel, we will be going to various different places and kind of exploring different areas, potentially different objects, things like that as well, to tie
We're
it
going to
in.
go touch some stuff.
Gonna touch some
We're
stuff.
going to go touch some stuff and
I
see
love
how we
touching
feel.
stuff.
Just go and hug a rock.
Rocks are friends. But yeah, so question for you then. So prehistory. Explain a bit about that.
I love just like the origins of humanity, where we came from, and I'm so interested in like the British Isles are so like fascinating in that honestly our kind of prehistory is minuscule in comparison to everywhere else's. We like it's something ridiculous like 5,000 or 6,000 years maximum, because like the ice came and was like, get off my island. And
shift it, right?
so like it's kind of a bit like, do we actually have indigenous peoples in Scotland, or have we all come from elsewhere? How are our populations made up?
Yeah, that's a really interesting idea, and I think it kind of ties into like another interest of mine as well, which is, so we're both, I think, interested, as Ellery said earlier, looking at, for example, the pre-Christian heritage of Scotland. Quite often, if you're searching for like pagan heritage in Scotland, you basically come up against the wall of Wicca. And again, there's something wrong with Wicca, like as a system. If it's the person's system, that's fine. But if you're
it's only
interested,
one thing, and it's a reconstruction based on information that a lot of it
not
is
accurate.
a lot of the findings have moved on,
Yeah.
the science has moved on. We have new information
Yeah.
that discredits some of it, not all of it, but some of it, and I've never felt connected to it personally. I think there's something else. There's some other kind of pre-Christian kind of Scottish pagan belief system that we haven't found yet that I feel connected to, but we don't know what it is yet. We'll figure it out.
We're gonna. That's another thing I guess we'll be looking at, and I think it's interesting because in certain places like Cornwall, for example, I believe his name is Simon Reed. There are people who are trying to reclaim, for example, a sense of traditional heritage and bringing back through that traditional festivals, traditional performing arts, and I think that is something which I think we both would be interested in exploring.
We want to do for Scotland as well, and I'm interested in the Cornish history as well, because I have Cornish ancestry, and like kind of Devon, Cornwall area. I've got family from down there, and I mean like literally Ellery is the individually Cornish version of like Smith or Welsh Jones. So, you know, there's it's kind of like you can't take Scottish history in complete isolation from the history of Britain at large and the history of Europe and world history.
Yeah, it's a system in flux.
What there is at the moment is the majority of it is, here is a Celtic book on Celtic things of all of the Celtic nations, and you're like,
which touches marginally on Scotland.
Yeah, but which ones apply to Scotland?
Or they say it's Irish.
It's
just Irish.
And
you're like, it's not just Irish.
And you're like, I mean, again, I have Irish heritage,
Same.
so we're super interested in exploring that as well. But Scotland's where we live, it's where we've grown up.
Yeah.
It's where I was born.
I mean, I'm from down south. I'm from Buckinghamshire, kind of Aylesbury ways, but I've lived in Scotland for coming up for 20 years actually this year. So I mean, culturally, I'm Scottish, you know. So yeah, it's just an interest, I think, for both of us.
And I think that's one of the beautiful things about Scotland is that if you feel Scottish, if you've lived here for over half your life, even if your parents weren't born in Scotland, you are Scottish, and anyone who tells you differently is wrong.
was going to say a bad word.
Yeah.
I was going to use
Keep it PG.
I was going to use a Scottishism, but I'm not going to.
But I mean, to be honest, we could swear. We're in charge of this channel. We get to say, and I mean, Scots pretty much about 90% swear words, and the other 10% is
cute
weather.
expletives. Oh no, that's an expletive is a swear word. Ignore that. Wait a minute.
We're gonna have a lot of fun doing this, and that's what's important.
I think so. And just as well to touch on, I guess also because it's tied into the name, I think it's very fair to say that we both are very interested in witches and the history of witchcraft, what it meant to be considered a witch.
We definitely would have both been burnt.
Yeah, multiple times.
We will definitely have been
kill them once and kill them again.
Yeah,
exactly. Because I think there is very much also a queerness which ties in to witches and witchcraft, and
queerness, disability. There's a lot of neurological conditions that were literally they thought you were possessed by demons, and therefore, if you were possessed by demons, you must be a witch.
And then also, I guess as well, what it meant. If you're looking at witchcraft as potentially some form of countercultural movement, because there's research to suggest that, what do figures like, for example, the devil mean within that context, for example? Especially figures like the folk devil. Do you know what I mean? It's not as cut and dried as like...
And a lot of the time, it's kind of older forces were then equated with Christian mythology.
Yes.
And it's quite interesting seeing how kind of Celtic Christianity differs from kind of mainland Europe and like Middle Eastern origin point, like how it changes.
Yeah, definitely.
When it interacts with the culture it's trying to like subsume.
Yeah, definitely. So I think the sorts of things that we'll be looking at on this channel is, so as I said, there's a certain element of travelling to certain places.
Hence the trails.
Hence the trails. So, travelling to various places and examining folkloric material. Book reviewing is a big one. I think our next video will be looking at a couple of book reviews, so you can watch out for that.
We want to invite other people who are involved in Scottish folklore who are practicing pagans, who are interested in the history, people who write about it, people who are involved in cultural things like Scottish country dancing and things like that. This will all evolve over time. I think at the moment it's probably just going to be you're going to get sick of us two after a while.
Yeah, and we're also, as another thing as well, we're looking at having not a how-to section as such, but Ellery's going to teach me stuff.
Yeah.
Because we have plans for an event coming up within the year, and so there will be sections where Ellery is going to show me some crafty.
It's going to be very art attack.
Some very art.
It's going to be super art attack in section.
Yeah, so Ellery's going to show me some stuff because I would like to learn, for example, about costume design, and how these sorts of ideas tie in as well to folkloric materials. So look out for that.
Mummery and guising and things like that are huge parts of
massively
of kind of ceremonies and festivals.
Yeah.
So crafts, traditional crafts.
It's like art and theatre and spirituality, see, melting.
Combines. And we'll probably watch documentaries and then tell you about them. Be like, watch this one, it's ace. And we find, we'll watch lots of the great documentaries that are on the Channel 4 player with my favourite man.
Your favourite man?
Richard Rudgley, who likes to get naked and run around fields covered in body paint far too much.
What a man.
But I love it.
But you know what, I'm not complaining. I don't think you are either, so hey.
I mean, to be honest, if I could get paid to do that, I would.
Who wouldn't? Freedom of body and choices. I don't know, but yeah. So that's what you are expecting. Mm-hmm. You are expecting. We are expecting
to present for your viewing pleasure.
Exactly. So yeah, I would sincerely hope you'd like to tune in. Yes, and join us as we continue on our witchy trails. Mm-hmm. Follow these couple of witch prickers.
Oh no, that's gonna be even better when like I'm gonna make us witch prickers.
Good. I'm looking forward
We
to
can
it.
end it.
Go prick some witches. Awesome. Cool. Thank you very much.
We'll see you next time.
Bye. Love it.